Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today, we are here to debate the Childhood Cancer Survivorship, Treatment, Access, and Research Act, also known as the Childhood Cancer STAR Act. Each one of us knows someone who has suffered from cancer, whether it is with a family member, a friend, a patient, or a loved one. It is especially heart-wrenching to watch children go through cancer diagnosis and cancer treatment. The bill we are considering today is for our children, the future of our nation. I would like to acknowledge and thank my fellow Texan, Congressman Michael McCall, for leading our work to deliver hope to America's youngest cancer patients. Congress has done remarkable work to pass legislation such as the 21st Century Cures Act, which provided Americans with great hope that increased investment in biomedical research that would lead to treatment and even cures for our most devastating diseases. 21st Century Cures authorized over $4.5 billion in new funding for the National Institute of Health, including nearly $2 billion for the Cancer Moonshot. The Childhood Cancer STAR Act builds upon the mission First Century Cures, but focuses on empowering the National Institute of Health and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention to increase the amount of research and surveillance for cancer in children, adolescents, and young adults. Groundbreaking discoveries rely on robust and reliable investment in research, and this requires robust and reliable dollars for research. This bill authorizes $30 million a year through fiscal year 2023 for the National Childhood Cancer Registry, which will provide grant funding for the purpose of collecting information to better understand the epidemiology of cancer in children, adolescents, and young adults. The bill also authorizes that the National Cancer Institute at the National Institutes of Health to make awards that will support childhood cancer biorepositories, giving physicians and researchers tools to better understand these diseases. Mr. Speaker, it is vital that physicians and their teams can provide comprehensive and coordinated care for pediatric cancer patients. The bill allows the Secretary of the Department of Health and Human Services to make grants to establish pilot programs to develop, study, or evaluate model systems to improve the quality and the efficiency of care for childhood cancer survivors. It also provides for greater efficiency and coordination of care for those survivors as they transition into adulthood, and for the Secretary to work with experts and identify best practices. Similarly, this bill gives the National Institute of Health Director the authority to make grants to programs that conduct or support research relating to pediatric cancer survivors. As I have said, this legislation is for our children. It is for the families that are building our nation's future. If we can ensure that these young patients receive treatment and cures for childhood cancer, then they may grow up to become biomedical researchers who will find the next generation of cures. They may write the next great American classic. They may become prima ballerinas or Olympic athletes, or all of the above. This legislation is for kids like Sadie. Sadie was diagnosed with ALL, that's acute lymphoblastic leukemia, in February of 2015. She was just 7 years old at the time. This young North Texan fought through infections, blood transfusions, and rare side effects. She missed out on second grade. She missed out on third grade as she underwent weekly chemotherapy sessions. Today, it is my great joy to share that Sadie beat the odds, and Sadie survived leukemia. She received her last chemotherapy treatment May 26, 2017. Now, at 10 years old, Sadie is able to live the life of a normal kid. And I would like to thank Sadie and her family for their willingness to share their story and for their advocacy in support of this important legislation. You know, Mr. Speaker, I met Sadie in my office last spring, and I was inspired by her story. She started a nonprofit, the Sadie Keller Foundation, to raise money to help other kids who are facing cancer. Her mission is pretty simple. It's to put a smile on the faces of children fighting cancer all over the country and to remind them to keep fighting. So today I'm going to urge other members of Congress to support this important bipartisan legislation and sending this bill to the President's desk. We will help Sadie achieve her mission of putting a smile on the faces of children fighting cancer. We will provide families across this country with the hope for a better tomorrow. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'll reserve the balance of my time.